Pokemon Legends ZA, it's finally here. As someone who has been really into the Generation 6 Pokemon games lately, I'm really excited to revisit the Kalos region, and strangely feel nostalgia for it even though it's not that old. Maybe I'm just old. I don't typically focus on the newest Pokemon games, but this time around I really want to try my best to play this game as much as possible. I played for over 20 hours over the course of 2 days, and just want to talk about my experience with the game, what I liked, what I didn't like, and how I beat Pokemon Legends ZA how I intended it. The game starts off with some basic character customization, then we see we're on a train head towards Lumiose City. In case you've been living under a Boldore, the entirety of this game takes place in Lumiose City. I was a bit skeptical at first when I heard this, and people were upset because Lumiose City that we saw in X and Y was big, but not big enough for a full game to take place in. I assumed back when I heard that they'd make this city way bigger, but for some reason people were insistent that the Lumiose City in this game would be identical to what it was in X and Y, but as you can see, it's way bigger. I'll talk more about Lumiose City throughout this video, but the quick summary is I played this game for about 20 hours and didn't even see the full city, and never felt like the world was too small or that things were too empty. It was a bit weird how there was like no cars on the road outside of parked taxis, but at the same time it would be kind of weird if I ran across Lumiose City and then just got hit by a car. I definitely prefer this setting over the wastelands we saw in Legends Arceus, as I much prefer exploring towns rather than just grass. Right as we exit the train station, we meet Tawny, who acts as the main rival in this game. She gives us our starter option, so I decide on picking Tepig, mainly because I'm doing a shiny only playthrough on Soul Silver and have a shiny Chikorita that I look at all the time, and I saw a Mega Feraligatr in some leaks earlier on and it doesn't really look that great to me, so Tepig it was. After some cutscenes in typical big city fashion, our bag gets stolen minutes after we arrive in the city. Must be a pretty strong Pancham to carry this bag that's about the same size as itself, but after tracking down its trainer we can set out our Tepig and have our very first battle. The battle mechanics in this game are different than the traditional main series games, and yes, Legends ZA is considered main series, I don't make the rules, and battling in this game is a bit more similar to what it was in Legends Arceus. There's no auto battle mode though, and the battles work in real time, with each move having a cooldown timer. It feels better in this game than battling was in Legends Arceus, and while I do still prefer the traditional turn-based battle style of the traditional main series games, I don't really mind this battle system once in a while for a Legends game. Once defeating the Pancham and getting our bag back, we complete the first mission of the game and celebrate it with a fist bump from Tawny. I'm not sure if fist bumps are really popular in Paris or something, but this game has characters awkwardly fist bump a lot. I even fist bumped my Tepig, although it looks more like a tail bumped on his end. Maybe we should work on that, buddy. Next, the game explains battle zones in the ZA Royale. Basically the way it works is at night, a certain part of Lumiose City will be designated as a battle zone that you can go into and fight other trainers. You start at rank Z and work your way backwards to rank A, and I actually really enjoyed this system. It had some flaws and quirks we'll discuss later on as I level up, but I should also mention that I streamed this entire playthrough of this game live on my Twitch channel, so follow down below, link in the description, as I plan on doing a lot more ZA streams over there, and streaming some other Pokemon games as well, as I've played this game non-stop since I got my hands on it. I was able to play this game a day earlier because my Switch was set to be in Australia, as I totally live on Australia too, and due to Australian time zones being so far ahead of the US, I was basically able to play it a day early. Once we finish the battle, we arrive at Hotel Z, ran by a familiar face in AZ, as well as Team MZ, which consists of Tawny, Lita, Naveem, and ourselves, with Naveem being somebody we'll meet later on. I'm not going to give a full breakdown of every little thing that happens in the game with the story and all that, and if this wasn't obvious already, as this video is about my experience of beating the game, there will of course be spoilers. I'm sure 99% of you guys realized that when you clicked on this video, but I have to say it for the 1% of people who lack critical thinking and clicked on this video and are surprised to see spoilers in a video titled, I beat Legends ZA how I intended it, or something like that. Tawny then gives us a quick parkour lesson so we can climb around the rooftops of Lumiose City. This was a big part of the game to make the city feel bigger, but it made it a bit confusing to reach some missions since it isn't super obvious how you'd climb every building. I definitely accessed a few areas through unintended ways via trial and error, jumping off of buildings and using my Roto Glider, but luckily this video is beating Legends ZA how I intended it and not how Nintendo intended it. I should probably also mention that I played this on my Switch 2, which was a very common question during my streams, so it'll run a bit better than the Switch 1 version. A lot of the early leaked gameplay was from an illegally leaked copy of the Switch 1 version of this game, running on an emulator off of people's computers of varying quality, but I have to say this game ran very smoothly and looked good enough for me on the Switch 2. I have heard that on the Switch 1 it still runs pretty decently as well, but a common message that I would see in my Twitch chat was how it looked like a PS2 game, and as somebody who plays a lot of PS2 games and PS1 games for the matter, I mean, just look at my collection here, I didn't really see any issues with graphics or performance, aside from one time where the screen went black for an awkward amount of time after a cutscene. Is this the most graphically impressive game I've ever played? No. Does it look bad though? No. Call me a Game Freak apologist all you want, I really don't care, but I genuinely enjoyed my time with this game so far. The next thing Tawny shows us are the Wild Zones, which are designated areas in Lumiose City where you can catch wild Pokemon. Some wild Pokemon spill out of these areas for you to find, most notably flying types like Fletchling and Pidgey, but for the most part you'd catch most of your wild Pokemon in these zones. More of these zones appear as you go through the game, as the whole point of the story is redeveloping Lumiose City so people and Pokemon can live together, but due to a mysterious phenomenon, some Pokemon are undergoing rogue mega evolution in the wild, which is dangerous. This story sounds oddly familiar to another Switch Pokemon game story, just adapted to fit the mega theming. I'll talk more about my thoughts on that in the end, but for the first Wild Zone I caught 5 unique Pokemon for Mabel's research task. Mabel, the Team Flare admin from X and Y, acts like this region's professor and gives you tasks around catching Pokemon. Unlike in Pokemon Legends Arceus, all of her tasks are optional to progress the story, with the final reward being the Shiny Charm. I definitely plan on doing some Shiny hunting in this game, but I love this change from Legends Arceus. My biggest complaint about Legends Arceus was that it focused way too much on catching Pokemon, with there being many points where I'd have to stop story progression to catch like 15 Bidoos and 25 Scorpies or whatever, where Legends EA, completing the dex is totally optional. The Pokédex is also now just an app on your Rotom phone, making me feel pretty old. Instead, this game focuses on battles and not catching Pokemon, which I really enjoyed. I even shuffled my team around a lot throughout the game to help me with certain challenges, but of the first bunch of Pokemon that I caught, my starter, Vismereep, and Bunnelby stuck with me until the very end of the game. I didn't pay too much attention to leaks of this game, and I didn't even watch every single trailer that released on this game, but I was half expecting Colossian forms to be in this game, kind of like what we saw with the Alolan forms or Galarian forms previously. But after a few hours of playing this game, I realized that there weren't any. I guess since Legends EA takes place only 5 years after X and Y, it wouldn't make too much sense for there to be just random Colossian forms, and I also guess that Megas sort of act like Colossian forms in a way, since they only exist in the Mega timeline, which is mostly just Kalos. Although now that I think about it, there is a version of Hoenn with Megas, Kanto with Megas, and Alola with Megas. The Pokemon timeline is pretty weird, and maybe one day I'll get around to making a video on that. After catching some more Pokemon and some hardcore parkour, we found out that our first opponent in the ZA Royale is Zack, a fitting name for the Z rank, although they kind of give up on the theme of each person's name starting with the letter of whatever rank you're at pretty quickly. After accumulating enough points to get a challenger's ticket, we then locate Zack and beat him in 2 shakes of a Mareep's tail and level up to rank Y. I know I usually say 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, but apparently there's an NPC that says 2 shakes in a Mareep's tail in the game. A viewer sent this to me, and while there is a 99.9% chance that it's just a coincidence that a random NPC says, there is still that ever so slight chance that this is a reference to one of my videos, meaning somebody at Game Freak has watched my videos before, and I will take that chance no matter how slim it might be, unlike your mother. The next day we meet Tarragon, who has this weird obsession with scaffolding. His construction company is working on Lumiose City's redevelopment plan, but instead of using normal OSHA-approved safe scaffolding, they make their scaffolding an obstacle course. I don't get it either. Now that those weird construction crew guys are gone, I can focus on my next real task, something I do in just about every new Pokemon game, and that's go and find a Magikarp. I don't know why I did like a Team Skull kind of thing there. I would have loved to get a shiny Magikarp, but I don't really know how shiny hunting works in this game yet, so I caught a regular Magikarp, which just got replaced pretty quickly on. I thought Magikarp, or rather Gyarados, would be my main Mega Pokemon, but that wasn't the case. We then meet these totally not sketchy people running the food truck by the Prism Tower and prepare to fight Ivor, this fighting type guy. By this point I was about 3 hours into the game, and aside from AZ and Mabel, I was surprised to see how few characters from X and Y were in this game. We encounter one more person from X and Y later on, but out of all the key trainers that we fight in this game, why didn't they have like a gym leader or some other trainer from X and Y come back? The Prism Tower is also Clement's gym, so like, where is he during all of this? As much as I enjoyed this game, the story and setting confused me, as there were times where I forgot that this was supposed to be the Kalos region. I feel like Ivor could have easily been replaced with Corinna from X and Y, and they could have given her a new fighting Mega Pokemon, and there's also no roller skates in this game, but whatever. I just talk about these games, and I don't make them. I did a lot of exploring after this, got dripped out of the Lumiose City Mall, then traded my Pikachu for this Heracross. This Heracross was named Boys? I don't understand that name either, and it was actually an amazing Pokemon to use, especially once I get Mega Evolution. I figured Heracross can Mega Evolve, so having as many potential Mega Evolutions as possible would be beneficial, since unlike in previous games, you can Mega Evolve multiple times in battle. In fact, Mega Evolution can wear off in battle even, which it doesn't do in the Gen 6 or 7 games, and your Pokemon revert to normal mid-battle, much like another battle mechanic we saw in a Switch Pokemon game that also has a problem with rogue energy affecting Pokemon in the area. I also wanted to make sure I used as many Colossean or Mega Pokemon as possible, so when I saw this level 17 Spritzee, I added to my team over Magikarp, which was very short-lived. Sorry, buddy. I then explore some more of this ridiculous parkour scaffolding, and have the Detective Emma show us Mega Evolution with her Mega Ampharos. She says how when a Pokemon Mega Evolves, their moves get more powerful too, which again sounds similar to another Switch Pokemon game battle gimmick. Then at this point, I got hungry, in real life. Like I said at the start of this video, the reason why I was able to play this game a day earlier than most people is because my Switch, I was in Australia, which is effectively a day ahead of the United States because of their time zone. Because of this, I decided to try some authentic Australian cuisine, aka I ordered Outback Steakhouse on DoorDash. Aside from the price I had to pay for this and the fact that my salad was upside down, that steak salad was actually incredible. Australians definitely know what they're doing when it comes to their food. While enjoying my authentic Australian lunch, Tappy evolved into Pignite, and I can fight Yvonne to rank up to rank X. While preparing for the next rank up, we get a few more evolutions and defeat Zavi to rank up to rank W. I then realized that I could connect online to get this gift route and a Gardevoir, but the routes was too low of a level to add to my team, so I just leave it in the PC. This section of the game was a lot of battles with a rival fight against Lita even. Then as we're rank W, we have to find our next opponent to face to rank up. Surely this person's name will start with a W, as so far everyone's name corresponds to the letter of their rank, right? But no, this guy's name is Renatro. He's a chef with the 3 Unilvan monkeys, and beating him gets you to rank V. I don't know why they started with that name theme and then just gave up so early on. Zygarde 10% form, or as I like to call him, Zydog form, then appears after the fight to tie us back to the Kalos story, and then we chase after it and find our first Rogue Mega, a Mega Absol. These Rogue Mega fights are boss battles, kind of like the Alpha bosses from Legends Arceus, but this time we actually use our Pokemon in battle to fight them, instead of throwing mud and jumping all over them instead. We can collect Mega Energy during this fight to Mega Evolve our Pokemon, like this Mega Lucario that was lent to us just for this fight. After defeating the Mega Absol, we can have it join our team, although for every Rogue Mega fight after this one, we just get the Mega Stone and can't actually catch the Pokemon or have it added to our team. Our next task is to go to Quazartico's headquarters. No idea if I'm saying that right, but this game has a lot of teams or organizations in them, and Quazartico is interested in Rogue Mega Evolution, so we team up with Vinny from Costa Rica, who tells us more about Rogue Megas in the area. For now, though, we have to focus on ranking up in the ZA Royale so we can fight Vinny, and once we defeat him, we rank up all the way to rank F. I was about 7 hours into the game at this point, and if the game ends around the time we hit rank A, then I assume we would be halfway done, but I was definitely wrong. I played this game for about 10 hours on the first day, then about 12 hours on the second day, then I spent the third day and the fourth day of release working on this video, and doing almost nothing else, so if that doesn't deserve a like, I don't know what does. I know I'm kind of brushing over a lot of the plot in the story, and while I did read every cutscene and understood what was going on, as again, there was no voice acting in this game, which would have been amazing. While playing this game, I tried to focus on doing whatever I wanted to do in this playthrough, and this game really lets you do what you want. It's not quite open world like Scarlet and Violet, but you can still explore around a lot and do other side quests and focus on catching Pokemon if you don't want to progress the story. Following this battle, we talk to Naveem and learn that much like young men of our society, he too is obsessed with VTubers, more specifically Canari, who specializes in Electric-type Pokemon, which sounds oddly familiar to a different Switch Pokemon game. Before we meet her though, we have to fight more Rogue Mega Evolutions like Mega Slowbro, Mega Camerupt, and Mega Victreebel. I really want to try to get a Mega Victreebel for my team, but for now, I've been mainly relying on the Mega Absol that was given to us earlier to carry these Mega fights, as the partner that we have for these Mega Evolution fights are pretty much useless. Before we can go and meet Canari, we have to get another ticket by battling in the ZA Royale, then enter her fan meetup and win a trivia contest to go and meet her. I really can't believe this isn't a Pokemon game, and I still can't believe that we now have 2 girl VTubers in the Pokemon universe who both happen to focus on Electric-type Pokemon. This game has a lot of weird coincidences and parallels to other Pokemon games like this, but with the help of Naveem, we can cheat in this trivia contest, then go fight Taragon, who happens to be Canari's grandpa. Canari says how the first time she ever played a game was on her grandpa's laptop, and that really aged me because I don't think my grandparents ever even knew what a laptop was, let alone what a VTuber is. Turrigon specializes in ground-type Pokemon, including Mega Excadrill. Honestly, didn't see that one coming, but one thing I noticed about this game was that there was a heavy focus on Generation 5 Pokemon, which is nice as Gen 5 tends to be underrepresented in Pokemon, so it's nice to see that it get more attention in recent years. I'm also biased because Gen 5 starters are my favorite set of starters out of them all. Now we can finally fight the electric VTuber Canari, who uses Quick Balls to match her aesthetic. I hope no other shiny hunters noticed that, but she uses electric types with her ace being Mega Electros. I don't know if anybody asked for Mega Electros, but wow, do I love this Mega. There's no abilities in this game, so my Diggersby can take it out pretty easily with ground type attacks, which is another strange thing about this game. A lot of Mega Pokemon, namely Heracross and Mega Mawile, are really only good because of their abilities, and now they just don't have that in this game? And I wonder what abilities these new Mega Pokemon will have if they return to future Pokemon games. But for now we can return to Hotel Z and have some croissant curry. Every Pokemon game since Sun and Moon have some sort of weird signature food item like malasadas or sandwiches, and this is now the second time we have curry. I have nothing against curry, I'm a big fan of Steph even, but this is just another weird parallel to Sword and Shield. Many NPCs even reference the Galar region, which makes sense due to the proximity of Galar and Kalos in the Pokemon world, or at least the proposed one since we're assuming that they're close together. Next I do some more hardcore parkour in the scaffolding in Lumiose City to fight some more rogue Megas like Mega Beedrill, Mega Hawlucha, and one of my favorite Megas, Mega Banette. None of the rogue Mega fights were particularly difficult yet, and while I wouldn't consider this game to be as easy as say Pokemon X and Y, it's not mind-numbingly easy either, and later segments require me to strategize a bit and change up my team in order to progress. I found that having 3 attacking moves on my Pokemon, with at least one of them being coverage and a 4th status move, worked really well with the battle mechanics with how move cooldowns work, as you can't just spam moves and you have to wait for your more powerful moves to cool down. Especially since Pokemon like Ampharos and Emboar were quite strong, but very slow and had long cooldowns. The slowness of my Pokemon was more of an issue with the ZA Royale though. You can get an advantage if you sneak up on your opponent and attack them first, but my Emboar was so big and slow that by the time I snuck up on an enemy and went for a move, they would just see me and fight first anyway, and Emboar would often get stuck on like lampposts and random corners. It's okay though, Emboar, I still love you. After those mega fights, I checked out another wild area and found a level 47 Alpha Weepinbell. I would love to have Mega Victreebel on my team, and this is a great option, although this Alpha Weepinbell proved to be a bit too strong for us, so I leave it for now and return later on. Instead, I focused on an Alpha Meowstic and add that to the team over Spritzee, since Spritzee sucks. Another thing I noticed about this game at this point was that since the ZA Royales were only at night, you could also just wait on benches around the city until nighttime, instead of going back to your hotel room and waiting there like I had been doing. I often refer to this as looking for a bench to sleep on since we are technically homeless in this game. I called it a day there, then started the game back up first thing in the morning the next day. I finished up battling in the ZA Royale for now to get my next ticket to fight Ivor, which was the main reason why I added Meowstic to my team. First we have to battle his friend Josie, and after defeating Josie, she gives us her Seed of Majesty, then Ivor comes back to tell us that his sister, Gwyn, went missing. We have to help him track her down before we fight him, and along the way we fight Canari again. Emma then begins to think that Gwyn might be in the sewer, so we need to catch a Pokemon that knows the move Ice Beam so we can freeze the fountain and then go into the sewers. While in the sewers I caught an Inkay and had a small detour evolving it, as I literally had to undock my Switch and turn it upside down so it could evolve. I love my new friend Malamar, and he helps us find Gwyn in the sewers who reveals her Mega Chandelure. Not my favorite Mega design, but hey, it's not as bad as Mega Feraligatr, and I still love seeing all these new Gen 5 Megas. Before fighting Ivor for a rank up battle, I searched high and low for a Malamarite but couldn't find one. Despite this, Malamar still helped me defeat Ivor, who had a new Mega in Mega Phalanx, which just took all of its heads and turned them into one body of a soldier. Definitely a fan of this Mega evolution, and I love seeing Pokemon from after Gen 6 in the Kalos region like this Mega Phalanx. After having some more delicious croissant curry, AZ tells us about the Rust Syndicate, yet another organization in Lumiose City that didn't exist in X and Y. We have to go find them and defeat their grunts guarding their building, then Felipe of the Rust Syndicate isn't so happy about us wiping the floor with his grunts, so he battles us with his Mega Skarmory. Once we defeat Felipe, we meet Corbeau, who is effectively a loan shark and runs a mafia-like business in Lumiose City. Although later on we learn that they're not actually evil, even though they seem kinda evil. It turns out that Tawny wanted to take out a loan for the hotel that has an insane interest rate and she can't pay them back. At this point I kind of expected Tawny to be secretly evil and have some involvement with this rogue Mega Evolution in Lumiose City, but instead we get roped into doing the Rust Syndicate's dirty work to help with Tawny's debt. First, we have some rogue Megas to fight like Mega Barbaracle, which I really struggled to find. I can see it on the minimap, but wasn't sure where to climb, so instead I took on Mega Mawile and Mega Ampharos first, then returned for Barbaracle to do this weird, possibly unintended jump to get around to the side of the building and find Mega Barbaracle. This was kind of what I meant earlier when I was talking about traversing through the city. You can just very easily get lost even though you can see the Megas marked on your minimap. I also struggled a lot against this Mega Barbaracle because it was just so fast it would knock me out with this close combat-like attack, causing me to white out. The game gives you the option to go back into the fight with the boss having the same remaining amount of health, but that's either a lie or I read this wrong and misinterpreted it, since no matter what would happen, whenever I would lose and go back into the fight with this mode, its health would just reset to half even if its health was below half before. I failed this Mega Barbaracle fight like 5 times, so I finally decided to go seek out that Alpha Weeping Bell to use for this fight. Since I was a higher level, I was able to isolate it and catch it, use a Leaf Stone on it, and finally give it the Victory Bell light so I can have a Mega Victory Bell and make this Mega Barbaracle fight so much easier. The beauty of Alpha Pokemon is they tend to be a higher level than regular wild Pokemon, making it very easy to add new party members without having to spend so much time grinding them up. Mega Victory Bell was a very welcome addition to this team that stuck with me through to the very end. Then after the battle we meet L. He seems familiar, turns out he's Lysander, but now we have to do another odd job for the Rust Syndicate, which involves clearing out ghost-type Pokemon from a nearby apartment building. Next, we have some more story and lore stuff going on with Rogue Mega Evolution and the city's redevelopment plan. Then I battled in the ZA Royale some more to fight Corbo. I don't think I'm saying his name right at all. He uses Poison-type Pokemon, and I kind of expected him to have Steel types as there's like 2 Mega Steelixes on the wall when we're battling him. But no, instead he uses Poison types and has a Mega Scolipede, another Gen 5 Mega. Then while getting coffee with the rest of Team MZ, this green-haired cat maid interrupts us to invite us to some sort of tournament hosted by Jacinth. Yeah, some of the characters in this game are pretty weird. We then head to the tournament to meet Jacinth, who organized the tournament, as well as the other key trainers we have fought thus far who happen to be in the tournament. This includes our rival Tawny, then 7 other trainers who sort of act like the gym leaders in this game, although there's no actual gym leaders in this game that you fight. Before the tournament was able to fire off, we're interrupted by some new rogue Megas in the city, like Mega Frostlass. Makes sense since Glalie has a Mega, and then we also fight Mega Venusaur and Mega Altaria. With those Megas out of the way, Laban, the green-haired cat maid lady, meets us at the hotel with her 2 friends who challenge us to a battle. Once we defeat them, we then fight Laban, who then reveals her Mega Dragalge. I didn't know about this Mega either, but I kind of like it, and I love seeing Gen 6 Pokemon get Mega Evolution, as for some reason in X and Y there were no Megas from Gen 6. At this point I realized that Malamar really wasn't that great in our team since it had no ability and I couldn't find its Mega Stone, so I decided to replace it and want to replace it for a Water-type Pokemon. I looked around at all the wild areas a little bit and found out that Froakie appears in one of them, so I spent way too much time trying to catch this Froakie, which only spawns on top of this tower in the park and runs away very easily. After catching it, I use all my EXP candies on and level up to Greninja. If you didn't know, all 3 Kalos starter Pokemon have Megas in this game, but there's a catch. You can only get their Mega Stones by ranking up to a certain rank in the online mode each season, and this season happens to give you the Greninjaites. Kind of annoying how you need to switch online to access certain Megas, so I hope that they release these Mega Stones later on down the line through a free method. The online battles are 4-player free-for-alls all scaled to level 50, with each player getting a point for a knockout. You can bring 3 Pokemon, although the teams that you make before coming in here allow you to have up to 6 Pokemon, which was kind of confusing. And since this game had just come out, many of the players that I paired up against had very low level Pokemon, or at least under-evolved Pokemon, and only a select few amount of players had good teams. I got second in most of them and won once or twice level up to rank K and finally get the Greninjaites. This whole ordeal to get the Greninja and get the Mega Stone took me about 2 hours, but it was worth it as although my Greninja was a bit under-leveled for the rest of the game, it was very strong. With our new Mega Greninja, we can return to Jacinth's tournament and fight some familiar foes until Zygarde 10% form interrupts us for a battle mid-tournament. We can take it out pretty easily, then fight some more rogue Megas like Mega Tyranitar, then while locating the next Mega, I heard a shiny sound. I wasn't sure if I was being trolled by my Twitch chat or what was going on, so I ran around a little bit more and heard it again, but I couldn't see the shiny. I checked everywhere, the water, I climbed this building, and spent quite a bit of time trying to find it, then eventually looked at this light post and saw this.
Is that a Fletchling right there? Is that the shiny? Oh, it is!
I'm glad I was able to find a shiny in my first playthrough, although since it's only level 6, you can sit in the PC for eternity. Next, I continue to fight Mega Dragonite and then Mega Starmie. Yeah, this thing is weird. I don't know what it was about Mega Starmie, as although my Twitch chat was pretty understanding about me not wanting spoilers, for some reason my YouTube chat, as I was multi-streaming at the time, something I don't plan on doing in the future, kept bringing up Mega Starmie and Mega Starmie memes. I mean, to be fair, Mega Starmie does look kind of ridiculous, but as a kid, I used 2 Starmies on my team to be Pokemon Red for the very first time, so I do like that it at least has Mega Evolution, even though I don't really like the design. Then finally, for our A-rank battle, we have to fight the mysterious trainer known as Gershom. No one knows who he is, but it turns out he is the guy that runs the food truck that we kept going to throughout the story. And he's also part of Team Flare and is trying to bring it back, by the way. We fight his friend Grissel first, who had a Mega Pyroar, then explore Lysander's old labs, and learn more about Team Flare, Lysander, Zygarde, and Mega Evolution. Eventually, we can finally take on Grisham for our A rank, who of course, has a Mega Charizard X. Then after defeating him, he kinda just like, forgets about Team Flare and becomes our friend, so that's kinda cool, I guess. And then the rest of the game unfolds with the Prism Tower and why it's emitting this rogue Mega Energy with Ainge, which is a device that AZ put in the tower. And we fight through a ton of rogue Megas throughout the center of the city, go through one last scaffolding parkour maze, and save Mega Floette from being absorbed by the Prism Tower with the help of Mega Zygarde. Yeah, there's a Mega Zygarde, by the way, and a Mega Floette, if you didn't know, and this tower is the closest thing we'll get to a Mega Duraludon, so I will take that. The ending of this game was really weird, although it was pretty fun. Then after saving the world, AZ just dies. I didn't expect that, but then we even have a funeral for him after the credits roll as his Floette lives on, and then this just starts the post-game, which I didn't finish yet. I played this game for over 20 hours over the course of like 35 hours or so, which is kind of insane, but overall, I really enjoyed this game. I thought the plot and story was a bit weird, and honestly, I don't think it really did Zygarde too much justice, as if they released a hypothetical Pokemon Z version like 10 years ago, I don't think Zygarde would have followed the same story, but overall, it was a good game. I would have liked to see more returning characters from X and Y as well as abilities for at least Mega Pokemon though. Obviously, I like this game because Pokemon is basically my life, and if you're like me, you'll probably also like it if you're on the fence about getting it. If you're a more casual fan who plays Pokemon here and there, but like the more recent games, you'll probably like this game too. If you haven't played Pokemon in a few generations, you might not like it due to how different this is from a traditional game, especially with the battle style. And if you're one of those people who constantly complain about how this looks like a PS2 game and that Nintendo or Game Freak are lazy and money hungry, and this is the worst thing to ever grace the world, although you still watch content nonstop about this game, then yeah, it should go without saying that this game probably isn't for you and you don't have to buy it. So yeah, that's my first experience with Pokemon Legends ZA and a mini review, sort of. I'll do a full-on Pokemon tier list with the whiteboard, including ZA eventually, but for now, I'm gonna go shiny hunt in this game and see what else there's to do. So thanks for watching, and bye-bye. Actually, I don't know why I'm getting up. My Switch 2 is right here, so if I get up, I can't shiny hunt. So yeah.